I'm Ken Armstrong. I'm the president and CEO of North Arrow Minerals, and I'm just going to take you through our corporate presentation as we're in the period of lead up to the results from our Naujaat bulk sample program. I'm certainly going to be making some forward-looking statements as I take you through the presentation. And just, I think, sort of setting the stage, we're a diamond exploration company. We're focused in Canada. There aren't very many companies doing what we are doing right now. And I think that's really important to keep in mind because we are in a period where we have really important results coming, combined with the fact that the diamond market is really quite strong. It's had a really good run over the last 18 to 24 months, like a lot of commodities have. But maybe what's a little different is in most of those commodities, as they've had a good run, the prices of the underlying equities of companies involved in those commodities have also increased. And that hasn't yet happened in the diamond space. And we think it's something that could happen as we move forward and people become aware of just how much strength there is in the diamond space. We've seen increasing rough diamond prices up over 34%, very strong demand on the retail side, and combining that with declining global production and declining supply, and the fact then that there hasn't been a whole lot of exploration and very few discoveries, and there just aren't very many projects in the project pipeline. So that's why we think it's a good time to be looking at North Arrow. We have a whole pipeline of projects. As I mentioned, we've had very good success making discoveries there. It's sort of anchored by our Naujaat project. We have a 2,000-ton bulk sample in the lab getting processed right now to recover diamonds. And we'll talk about that in a bit more detail with those results coming over the next 6 weeks or so. And then also a whole pipeline of other projects to be working on. And now combined with that is this very strong background or backstop in the diamond sector. So we're just starting with a few slides on the sector. Obviously, retail is, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing because it's consumers buying very high-end luxury diamond jewelry that really pushes everything that we do in the entire diamond market. And these are a couple of really interesting slides that show U.S. Retail demand on the upper level over the last 5 years on a monthly basis. So these are U.S. sales. You can see just how important December is every year. You can see the decrease in sales during the heart of the COVID-19 pandemic. But then since then, incrementally, sales have been increasing over and above where they were before. And we can see that really well on the bottom chart here, which is U.S. jewelry sales over the last 20 years. We can see 2021 projected to be about 50% above 2020. And that's not just a simple COVID bounce back. That is over and above the long-term trend that we've seen over the last 20 years. And fair question, I think, to ask if that's sustainable. We certainly think it is, and part of that is based at looking at what the biggest players in the space are doing. And one of the main transactions that we like to point to over the last year was the purchase by Louis Vuitton of Tiffany & Co., arguably the most widely known and recognized luxury retail brand in the jewelry space in the Western Hemisphere. And Louis Vuitton paid almost $16 billion US for it in 2021. So what we're seeing then are the biggest, most knowledgeable players in the retail jewelry space making multi-billion-dollar investments on the future of their business. So we think that's a positive. And then we're also seeing very similar news on the diamond production side. Lucara Diamond is in the middle of a $500 million expansion of their Karowe mine in Botswana. De Beers has announced a $6 billion expansion of their Zwaneng mine, also in Botswana, and have other expansions on the go as well, including an expansion of their Namibian marine diamond arm. So similar to what we're seeing on the retail side, we're seeing the biggest, most knowledgeable players in the diamond mining space also making multi-billion-dollar investments in the future of their businesses. And another way we can look at this increased supply for miners is this chart of Alrosa's over the last 7 years, which is charting their inventories and their sales over that period. And the big miners always maintain an inventory of diamonds. And that certainly has been the case for Alrosa, except not in 2021. We're in deficit, in fact, for a big chunk of the year and having to buy diamonds back from the Gokran, which is essentially the Russian government, in order to meet the demand that they were seeing from their buyers. And so that increase in demand we see in rough diamond prices. As I mentioned earlier, prices were up over 34% in 2021, reaching an all-time high as they headed into this early part of this year, 2022. And that's over and above the high that we saw in 2011. That increase in rough prices, obviously it's reflecting the increase in demand that we've been seeing on the retail side, but also just reflects the fact that supply is declining. It peaked in 2017 at 152 million carats. hit about 111 million carats in 2020, bounced back a bit in 2021 to about 117 million carats, but it's projected to flatline now through to at least 2027. And that, we think, is again just reflecting the fact that there hasn't been much investment in finding new diamond deposits. And it's where a company like North Arrow really comes in with our project pipeline, the success we've been having at finding diamonds and new diamond deposits throughout Canada, largely in the north, but also our Pikoo project in Saskatchewan, anchored by our Naujaat project in Nunavut. Naujaat is located right at the north end of Hudson's Bay, just 9 kilometers from the hamlet of Naujaat. And as I mentioned earlier, I think the anchor, or the real crux of that project, are these colored diamonds that we've seen in the work that we've done up to now, and these orangey yellow diamonds. And it was certainly this population of stones that attracted the attention of our partner on this project now, Burgundy Diamond Mines. We signed an agreement with Burgundy in June of 2020, in which Burgundy is earning a 40% interest in the project by funding this 2,000-ton bulk sample that we collected last summer and is currently in the lab in Saskatchewan, being processed to recover diamonds. The overall price tag for that project is about $5.6 million. And once those results come in, Burgundy will have earned their 40% interest. We also have in place a non-binding letter of intent with Burgundy, which would be another decision point that we'll see going forward, where if they like the results, Burgundy would have the option to earn another 20% in the main diamond deposit at Naujaat, Q1 to 4, by funding collection of a 10,000-ton bulk sample going forward. There's still some details to work out with that. It is non-binding, but it is a decision point that we'll see on the back of the results from the bulk sample. In terms of the bulk sample and collecting it, this is a great photo. This was taken late in the summer of 2021 after we collected the sample. And the area we work is right here at the bottom of the photo. The kimberlite itself sits under this sort of grassy looking area, wraps around underneath the lake to the right of the photo. You can see there's these pits that have been now reclaimed at this point. There's another pit right here. And these are where we collected the sample from. We don't have a lot of infrastructure here. We have a drill that's stored on site. But the reason we don't have a lot of infrastructure is we're able to work right from the hamlet of Naujaat, which we see at the top side part of this photo with the ocean in the background. We are able to sling out from town a couple of very small excavators to strip off the overburden, and then just free digging, collect a sample, putting it in 1-ton mega bags, 2,500 of them, which were then slung to a laydown near the hamlet's quarry, which is just to the right of the community up here at the top. You can see a little bit of white there, and that's actually our bulk sample sitting in our laydown. So a very straightforward, easy, relatively easy program for us to complete without a whole lot of infrastructure. And one of the key takeaways when thinking about this program in particular is that it doesn't have the typical risk profile that we're used to when thinking about Canadian diamond exploration projects. This isn't about kimberlite discovery. It's not about how big the kimberlite is or the size of the deposit. It's not about mineral chemistry and what that might tell us about the diamond population or microdiamonds and what that might mean. We have all that. We know that all those questions have been answered. This sample is about confirming for us that the coarser diamonds extend into the larger sizes that we think in the way that we think they do, and in particular in the way that we think that the colored diamond population does. So when thinking about results when they come and what would be a positive result be, I think really the way to look at it is we're looking to repeat the kind of result we got from the bulk sample that North Arrow collected in 2014, which was just about 1,300 tons, was a little bit smaller than this sample. But it was on the back of that work that we were able to confirm for ourselves that this colored population is real, that and we also did work to show us that it's a very different population from the white diamonds that are there as well, and that it needs to be evaluated separately and look at the population distinctly. And when we do that on charts like this one, which are really looking at sort of number of diamonds on the y-axis, the size of the diamonds on the x-axis, it's a logarithmic scale, so you kind of get these flat lines. And this is the part of the colored diamond population. It's very flat. It's projecting out to the right, but we just run out of data points. So we're looking to get enough data points from this sample that we'll be able to confirm what we think is the case, and that the colored diamond population has a coarser distribution, which simply means that at some point in the sizes, we're going to start to see more colored diamonds than we are non-colored diamonds. And that could have a really significant positive impact on the overall valuation. If this size distribution is correct, we could be seeing a diamond valuation, still a very wide one, ranging from $60, but potentially upwards of $200 a carat, which really could change the potential economics for this deposit. So that's what we're looking for. Certainly another sweetener on this would be if we can get some more really nice looking rough stones that can be cut and polished and get certified at the Gemological Institute of America as fancy, vivid, orangey colored diamonds, orangey yellow diamonds, whatever the color ends up being. That would be sort of a positive sweetener on the result as well. Another really nice photo that I like, this is the bulk sample at our laydown waiting to be shipped south for processing, 2,500 megabags of kimberlite. There's a couple people here for scale near the quarry, and the hamlet of Naujaat in the background. And this project, we've said this a few times over the years, it really hits the notes that you want to see in a more advanced project. It's in Nunavut, which is a region where you can permit a mine. Agnico Eagle has permitted 3 gold mines in this region over the last dozen years or so. It's obviously located near tidewater. An immediate comparable when we think about diamonds in Canada are the diamond mines in the Northwest Territories that rely on a winter road just to bring supplies every year. Being on tidewater, we think would reduce our freight costs to about 50% of what the costs are to get materials to those diamond mines in the Northwest Territories that rely on a winter road. So that's really important. It's a big deposit. Our current resource is about 48 million tons, and that's just down to 205 meters below surface. We've actually drilled the kimberlite down and been in kimberlite still at 400 meters below surface. So we know that it's bigger. Because of its size and its shape, we'd estimate that it would have a lower strip ratio, again, compared to the other diamond mines in Canada, and particularly in the NWT. And it's a significant inventory of diamonds. There's over 20 million carats of diamonds in our resource. And again, there's blue sky that we could see that resource increase with additional drilling by expanding the deposit, which we call Q1 to 4 to depth. But there's also blue sky in evaluating the other kimberlites in this project area. There's 15 other kimberlites that we know of. 8 of them are kimberlite pipes, so the larger sort of tonnage potential kimberlites that need to be fully evaluated. And then, of course, there's blue sky in North Arrow's project pipeline. I'm just using Pikoo as an example of that. Pikoo is a pretty exceptional discovery. When we made this discovery of this kimberlite field in 2013, 2014, it's an area that's just off of a highway in Saskatchewan. And the numbers that we reported from PK 150 were really quite exceptional. We've picked away at it since then. We know we need to make more discoveries. We need to increase tonnage. And we have some ideas on targets on how we can do that. We did a little bit of work last fall, and just earlier this week and earlier in February, we announced some results from that work where we've been able to confirm those targets. And right now we're just going through the work to put together a program which would see us drilling at Pikoo during the 2022 field season to make those discoveries. We also have a little bit of a sleeper gold project. This is a legacy project that's been our portfolio since we sort of switched to focusing on diamonds. We haven't done anything with it, but it really is of interest. It's located also on tidewater in Nunavut at the very north end of the Hope Bay Greenstone Belt. And most importantly, you can see the leases that we cover are immediately along trend from the Doris gold mine that Agnico Eagle has been producing from and is really focused on exploration there now. These leases lie immediately along trend from the mineralization at Doris. It's the exact same stratigraphy, so the same rocks, it's the same structural setting, and we're seeing the same style of mineralization. If this was a property, say in the Red Lake Greenstone Belt or in the Abitibi somewhere in southern Canada, in Quebec or in Ontario, this property would have been fully evaluated, and that hasn't been the case. So we are talking with partners, or looking to talk with partners to see an agreement in place that would see exploration happening on this property during the 2022 field season. So that would be sort of a milestone for us to get an agreement like that in place. But certainly the real milestone we're looking for are the diamond results from the bulk sample. And as mentioned, those will be coming now over the next little while, looking at very late March or early April for preliminary results, and then final results to follow after that. That'll be followed by a decision from our partner Burgundy on the letter of intent and whether to take a secondary option. And then news on our other projects, our pipeline of projects, where we've made discoveries and we think we're poised when we get back there to make additional discoveries. For any junior company, people are really important. And within our group and our leadership team, we have a lot of experience in diamonds and finding diamonds in Canada, evaluating deposits, getting them into production in Canada and in Africa. And importantly, the people involved in the company also have a significant ownership. They own over a quarter of the company. And we also have 3 other key shareholders in the Lundin Family Trust the Electrum Opportunity Fund out of New York and Ross Beatty. And just our corporate information is listed here as well, listed on the Venture Exchange, just over 120 million shares outstanding. And so the main thing in closing to try and get across is the fact that we have this bulk sample in the lab getting processed. It's very rare. It takes a long time to get a project to the point where a sample's been collected. It's there. It's in the lab getting processed to recover diamonds, and those results are about to be reported. And then now, as an added benefit, is the fact that the diamond market is so strong. The strength that we're seeing in the global market, combined with decreasing supply, means that we're in a really good spot for the reporting of our results when they do come. So I just think if you're looking at commodities in general and have an interest in commodities and in diamonds, that North Arrow really should be a company that's on your watch list, that you're taking a look at, and watch for the news on our bulk sample over the coming weeks. But thanks very much for listening. Please contact either myself or Nick Thomas if you have other questions on what it is we're doing or the diamond market in general. We'd be happy to try and answer them for you.